The Utah Jazz in Game 3 against the Clippers. They did lose that battle last night in L.A.
We want to head live to Los Angeles right now. That's where Fox 13's Jeff Rhineer is covering this series. Good morning, Jeff. Can the Jazz rebound in Game 4?
Yeah, good morning to you, John and Amy. I think they can. The streets are quiet here in Los Angeles right now, but the Staples Center was going last night because the Clippers finally won a game in this series, and they are making a series of it. Let's get to some of those highlights. Early on, the Jazz started okay, but then the Clippers built their lead in the second quarter thanks to some great shooting. Reggie Jackson was outstanding. He scored all 14 of his points in the first half, making 5 of his 6 threes. Paul George also played great, scoring 20 of his 31 points in the first half, helping the Clippers build a 15-point lead at the break. Donovan Mitchell led the Jazz rally in the third quarter, 3 of his 30 points. The Jazz cut the lead to 8 in the third. He was playing well, but then they were in striking distance midway through the fourth quarter when Mitchell came down awkwardly on his right ankle, the same injured ankle that forced him to miss the final 17 games of the regular season and the start of the playoffs. He limped off the court, did come back a few minutes later, but the Clippers went on a 10-0 run after he left to build a 21-point lead, so his night was done. The Clippers, meanwhile, pulled away. Kawhi Leonard led the way with 34 points. The Clippers won at 132-106. After the game, Quinn Snyder talked about Mitchell's injury and the decision to keep him out at the end down the stretch.
He's fine. You know, he could have gone back in the game. You know, we were kind of borderline there depending on, you know, where the game was. And I just felt like, you know, it had gotten to about, I think, an 18-point lead with, you know, 4 or 5 minutes to play. And it didn't make sense at that point, you know, to put him back in. And in fact, we took our other guys out shortly thereafter as well.
It happened. Situation happened. I feel like I was able to go back, but no need to risk it down 16, 18 at that point. So I'll be fine. Possibly we could just rest and get ready for the next game.
So it sounds like Mitchell will be ready to play on Monday in Game 4. Let's hope that's the case because they need a healthy Donovan Mitchell to beat the Los Angeles Clippers. This just means also there'll be another Game 5 in Salt Lake City. As Breck says, you can't win them all.
I guess not. I don't know. We'll let them have at least one win to celebrate on their home court. Hey, another question about how these guys are doing on their injured list. What about Mike Conley? Is he going to be ready to come back?
No, that's a good question, Amy. You know, he's missed the first 3 games of this series with a sore hamstring. That's kind of bothered him throughout the season. He's, you know, a little older as compared to some of the other players in the NBA. I think they're being ultimately cautious. Maybe now that they've lost a game, they might, you know, feel more comfortable of getting him out there in Game 4 on Monday. But he will be a definite bonus for the Jazz. Like Donovan, he can dribble well and beat that switching defense, so it's a much need for the Jazz to get Conley and Mitchell healthy on the court.
You know, they often say in these playoff series, it's not a series until the home team loses. Well, the home team has not lost a game yet in this series, so if the Clippers win tomorrow night, things are going to get pretty tight here for the Jazz.
Absolutely. Reggie Jackson said that exact thing after they lost both games in Salt Lake City. So we'll see what happens. The Jazz could really take a commanding 3-1 lead if they can somehow win Game 4 on Monday. But like you say, if the Clippers win it, this is right back to a best-of-3 series starting on Wednesday in Salt Lake City for that Game 5. So this series very much up in the balance. We'll see how it all works out. But it's been exciting. I think both teams finally played a little better yesterday, and we saw that from the Clippers. They showed some life in front of their home crowd.
All right, some exciting basketball. We'll see what happens in Game 4 tomorrow night. Jeff Rhineer, so fun to have you there. So fun to have you live with us this morning. Thanks so much.
All right.